Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be having a look at a op-ed opinion post in the Telegraph, and it's written by Nigel Biggar, and it's in regards to the report on the Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities by Tony Sewell. And in my opinion, Nigel hits the nail on the head with this one, but it would be interesting to know your opinions on it. But have a listen to what he says first, everyone. Decolonizing activists are pillaging Britain's past for political advantage. The minority of activists who are pushing the decolonizing agenda do not care for a scrupulous account of Britain's colonial past. During Tuesday's discussion at Policy Exchange of the recent report of the Commission on Race and Ethnic Disparities, Tony Sewell, its chairman, forcefully complained that it had been vilely misrepresented as the glorification of slavery. It's completely disgusting the way that the left have completely thrown this report's findings in the bin and gone with exactly what they wanted. He was responding to comments made on the day of publication by the Shadow Women and Equality Secretary Marsha de Cordova, there she is, lovely lady, who had demanded that the government urgently explain how they came to publish content which glorifies the slave trade and immediately disassociate themselves from these remarks. How dare she? What was the basis for Ms. de Cordova's accusation? A single innocent sentence in the foreword proposing that school children be taught, we're ready for this, not only about the suffering of Caribbean Africans during the slave period, but also about how they subsequently transformed themselves into citizens of a multiracial Britain. You can imagine why they are a bit miffed at that. They need to perpetuate the lie that multicultural Britain is a racist Britain. Anti-racist decolonizing activists typically prefer noise to nuance. In their zeal to press home a political point, they also run far out ahead of the historical evidence. Remember that word? Evidence. Facts, in other words. So what he's effectively saying is they don't pay any attention to facts and just jump ahead like the left does and makes up their own history to fit the narrative. Take, for example, the response to the publication of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission's report on the commemoration of the British Empire's dead during the First World War. This revealed that up to 54,000 Indian and African war dead had been commemorated unequally, and at least a further 116,000 had not been commemorated either by name or at all. We remember that story from recently, don't we? The historian David Olusoga was quick to comment, "It's apartheid in death." Course you did, of course you were. I wonder how much money you get paid to sprout this tosh that was found to be wrong. It is an absolute scandal. It's one of the biggest scandals I've ever come across as a historian. It makes me think, that sort of a comment, that he's only a historian to find fault. Am I wrong with that? Casual onlookers could be forgiven for walking away confirmed in the view that British colonialism was essentially racist, and that the sooner the British decolonise themselves, the better. In fact, are we ready for this? Actual facts from now on. The report reveals something very different. Operating out of the metropolitan heart of the British Empire, the Imperial War Graves Commission was firmly committed to the racially egalitarian policy of commemorating all of the fallen soldiers of the Empire alike. As Sir Frederick Kenyon asserted in his seminal 1918 report, War Graves, how the cemeteries abroad will be designed. No less honour, he said, should be paid to the last resting places of Indian and other non-Christian members of the Empire than to those of our British soldiers. This principle consistently informed the Commission's policy in Europe, marking the known graves of individuals while naming those with no known grave on collective memorials, regardless of race. Outside of Europe and in Africa and in the Middle East, this policy was often adjusted out of practical necessity or respect for native religious customs, with good moral justification. In few cases, it was unjustifiably compromised by racist preference for Europeans over Africans. Is that racist, or is that just preference of your own? Is that racism? I don't think it is, to be honest. That is lamentable, yet it falls a long way short of a scandalously widespread or systematic apartheid in death, as he claimed. A similarly relaxed attitude to proportioning assertion to evidence has long been visible amongst these lobbying for the toppling of Cecil Rhodes' statue at Oxford. The view propagated during the first Rhodes Must Fall agitation in 2015-16 was that Rhodes was South Africa's Hitler. Jesus. And these are people paying 25 grand and upwards for university places, and they come out with this crap, backed up by a set of quotations that had Rhodes compare Africans in vile language to children best killed in large numbers. These words were taken from a 2006 book review by Professor Adekeye Adebayo. No bias there then, probably. Formerly a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford and now Director of the Institute for Pan-African Thought and Conversation at the University of Johannesburg. Yet careful analysis has revealed that his quotation was in fact made up from 3 different sources. The first element was lifted from an 1897 Oscar by Olive Schreiner, who oscillated violently between worshipping Rhodes and loathing him. The second was misleadingly torn from its proper context, and the third was a mixture of distortion and complete fabrication. So he lied, basically. The minority of activists who are pushing the decolonizing agenda do not care for a scrupulous account of Britain's colonial past. Their only interest is in pillaging it for present political advantage. To date, their aggressive zeal has succeeded in overawing a majority who know too little history to contradict them. But the problem with running out ahead of the evidence is that it leaves you exposed. Therein lies the hope for an effective resistance. The more that the facts are soberly presented in all their plausible complexity, the more naked will be the emperors of wokeness. Now, Nigel Big R is not just a writer for The Telegraph. He is actually a professor of moral and pastoral theology at the University of Oxford, an author of Colonialism and Moral Reckoning, forthcoming from William Collins. So he's not a nobody, and he does understand what's going on in Oxford because he's been there. But I'd like to know your opinion on this one. Do you think he was bang on the money? Do you think decolonizing activists really do want to just teach facts, or do you think that they want to erase facts for narrative? Because that's what it feels like it is to me. And all of our media are backing them up while they do it. It's disgusting in my opinion, but I would like to know yours. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to put a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share it out. Stay sane, I'll see you on the next one.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration.